So finding the range of this function is not new for us. We did this finding the range in CBSE board problems. We did the same range in CET problems, the same range in BitScience problems, same range in mains problems, and the same range in advanced problems also, right? So all you need to do is that y method, the regular y method, x square plus x plus 2 by x square plus x plus 1. The regular calculation, bring the denominator to the LHS and then writing that as a quadratic equation. So as usual, for x to be a real number, the d should be greater than or equal to 0. We should not do the calculation blindly. Sometimes we need to observe carefully. You can see the y minus 1 is common in these two. So take the y minus 1 common. So then you get y minus 1 minus 4 times of y, minus 4y, minus and minus plus 8. So automatically the factorization is happened. So instead of that, you'll expand that and then simplify and then again factorization. It's unnecessary calculation. Now you get minus 3y plus 7 greater than or equal to 0. So you know the Waviko method, the regular that roots zeros of this polynomial. So the 1 0 is 1, 1 0 is 7 by 3. So 1 is the lesser number and the 7 by 3 is the greater number. As the y square coefficient is negative, you start with minus, plus, minus, and as you are expecting the product to be positive, so the y belongs to the close to 1 to 7 by 3, and we have an option like that. 1 to 7 by 3. Yeah. For a reason, this is there in advance. Sometimes what we need to do is if y equal to 1, what happens? Usually we got this, but y is equal to 1 is practically possible or not, that we need to check. So if you see this, from this quadratic equation, someone asked, like when we're doing a mains problem or like BitSat problems, sir, that y equal to 1 we missed. So if you use that y equal to 1, if y equal to 1, what happens to this equation? Then you get this equation only, x only won't be there. Simply you get y equal to 2. So if y equal to 1, we are getting y equal to 2. So is it possible to have y equal to 1 and y equal to 2 at a time? So it's not possible. So y equal to 1 is not possible. This is one way to verify that. The other way to verify that is if y equal to 1, then what we need to do, we need to write x square plus x plus 2 by x square plus x plus 1 equal to 1. Then x square plus x plus 2 equal to x square plus x plus 1. 2 equal to 1, which is never possible. So y is equal to 1 is not allowed. Then immediately you get it out. Sir, how we know that which value we need to verify? Once we reach this step, how we know that only 1 we need to verify, or 7 by 3 also we need to verify, or all the values in this interval we need to verify? See that inequality, the d greater than or equal to 0, we wrote for the quadratic equation. When we call this as quadratic equation, only when y is not equal to 1, we call this as quadratic equation. So this calculation and all we did for y not equal to 1. For y not equal to 1, we did this calculation. In that calculation of y not equal to 1, we included 1 also. Sometimes in case of y equal to 1 also, you will have x real number, then we can include as usual. If y equal to 1 is not giving x as a real number, then we'll exclude that. So that's why we need to verify that y equal to 1, the x square coefficient equal to 0, the y value corresponding to x square equal to 0, you need to verify for the second time. That's what we are doing here. Y equal to 1, if you substitute in the equation, you are getting y equal to 2. Y equal to 1 and 2 same time is not possible. From this we can get y not equal to 1, or you can see that if y equal to 1 in the original equation, then you get a contradiction statement, so y not equal to 1. Hence the final answer is y belongs to open 1 to 7 by 3. So they are given f of x is equal to x plus 1 the whole square. This is the definition of function, and that is also defined only for x greater than or equal to minus 1. not for the all real numbers. So the domain of this function in general is all real numbers, but here in this particular problem they are given only for x greater than or equal to -1. And g of x is the function whose graph is a reflection of the graph of f of x with respect to y equal to x. Actually, this is the concept of inverse function. This comes under 12th grade concept, but without more worrying about inverse function also, we can discuss this particular problem. That's why let us do that here. See, the graph is a reflection with respect to y equal to x. Let us try to understand this particular point. So any graph is reflected with respect to x-axis, the y equal to x line, then what happens? Suppose this is y equal to x line. So let us take this curve. Okay, let us take this. I took just a curve, and now if I reflect that with respect to y equal to x, then my graph will be like this. So in this reflection, what's happening is the x coordinate of the point becomes y coordinate. For example, you take this point as 2, 1, and when you're reflecting, that becomes 1, 2. Not only for that point, every point, the y becomes x and x becomes y when you're reflecting it with respect to y equal to x. This is the observation point. When you're reflecting a graph with respect to y equal to x, the x coordinates and y coordinate will interchange, right? Like a 3 point. When you reflect a graph with respect to y equal to x, then xy coordinates of every point will interchange. So if you consider this logic, what you get, so to apply this, what we do is we take the given function f of x is equal to x plus 1 the whole square. So you write y equal to x plus 1 the whole square. Because when you reflect it with respect to y equal to x, xy coordinate will interchange. Here you interchange the xy coordinates, then the y value will be the g of x function. Y will be the g of x function. So you can do the interchanging here itself, or you write x as a subject and then interchange. Doesn't make any difference. So let us write the x as a subject. We know the well-known process for us writing x as a subject. X plus 1 equal to root y. So in general, when you are taking the square root, you'll write plus minus. But if you see this, the domain of f, the x greater than or equal to 1 means x plus 1 greater than or equal to 0. So x plus 1 is a non-negative value. That's why we won't write minus root y here. Because in the domain they are given x greater than or equal to 1, x plus y is greater than or equal to 0, non-negative. That's why we take only the positive square root, because the x value should be there in the domain. And after that you write x is equal to root y minus 1. So after writing x as a subject, basing on this theory point, when we reflect the graph of a function with respect to y equal to x, the xy coordinate of every point will interchange. So the definition also you get by interchanging the xy coordinates. So by interchanging x comma y, you get y equal to root x minus 1. Y equal to root x minus 1. So automatically the y is nothing but g of x. This time the y is g of x. G of x is equal to root x minus 1. So there is only one function with that definition, y equal to, okay, I think this is root of x plus 1 completely. Okay. So this root, full root. Okay. So there is only one function, root x minus 1. X greater than or equal to 0. So the x is basically the y for f of x. You can clearly see that x plus y 1 whole square is always greater than or equal to 0. So the y is always greater than or equal to for f function. Automatically the x will be greater than or equal to 0 for the g function. So that's why the answer is fourth option. See, because xy values are interchanging, the x for f will becomes y for g and y for f becomes x for g. That's why the range of f becomes the domain for g. So the range of f is 0 to infinity. Automatically the same thing will becomes the domain for this. If at all you have one more option with root x minus 1 as g of x, and then there is a difference in the x values, then you will pick this one. That time it will be helpful. But now we don't have that problem. There is only one option with root x minus 1. We can pick directly that fourth option. So this is also a simple problem. We did a tougher problem than this in CET BITSAT mains actually. So the domain of this is simple for us. We have two conditions. One is denominator condition. What is that? X square plus 3x plus 2 not equal to 0. And the other one, the log condition, the input for log should be greater than 0. X plus 3 should be greater than 0. Only two conditions we have. And this, if you simplify, that x plus 1 into x plus 2 not equal to 0 and x greater than minus 3. So x not equal to minus 1 minus 2. So x greater than minus 3 means minus 3 to infinity. But x not equal to minus 1 not equal to minus 2 means we need to remove that minus 2 and minus 1. So this is the final answer. So this is case 1 answer, this is case 2 answer, this is the final answer. You can also write this answer in this format. In fact, in options they are given in this format. So option 4 is the answer. So they're given the definitions of f and g, and they're asking us f of g of x. See, g of x, if you observe this, it's 1 plus x minus integral part of x is fraction part of x. 1 plus fraction part of x is basically lies between 1 to 2. Basically, this number g of x for every x belongs to closed 1 to open 2. For all x, g of x belongs to this interval. This observation will help us to calculate f of g of x. Why? Because f of x is a piecewise definition. Piecewise definition means different inputs, different definitions are given. If it is a positive number, the output is always 1. The negative number output is always minus 1. 0, always the output is 0. You can see that all the outputs are G are inputs for the f. All the outputs of G are inputs for the f. All outputs of G are positive numbers. All outputs of G are positive numbers. So for every positive input, you get the f image as 1. So f of g of x is always equal to 1. So the answer is 1, the second option. You can check all these using the definition of g of x. You take any number for x, irrespective of whether it is negative or positive. You will always get a number which is in the form of 1 point something. Because it's 1 plus the fraction part of x, and the fraction part of x always lies between 0 to 1. So this value is always between 0 to 1. So the 1 plus that value always between 1 to 2. So for the 1 to 2 value is always a positive value, and g of some positive value, so this g of x is always positive, and f of some positive value, f of positive value is always equal to 1. That's why whatever the g of x is, you take 1.5, 1.7. Suppose f of 1.7, it will be 1. F of 1.8, it will be 1. F of 1, it will be 1. F of 1.6, it will be 1. All the outputs, whatever you're getting from the G, will becomes input for F, and F will take those inputs, and because all of them are positive, and F will give the final output as 1. The final output is the question asked, that is 1. The answer is 1, option 2. So this f of x calculations, we did many similar calculations. So f of x equal to x, they're given. So f of x as it is, we can substitute ax by x plus 1. What I told, don't read this as ax by x plus 1, then how to read? F of input as equal to a times the input by input plus 1. The unchanged ones, the a is unchanged 1, by is unchanged 1, the plus is unchanged 1, the 1 is unchanged 1. Only the two changed ones are there, which are x. So when you're writing the definition, I'm suggesting to write that as unchanged ones, write as it is. Right, unchanged ones as it is, and the x, replace x with a bracket, because this time you need to write a bigger expression in place of x. And the by also unchanged one, write as it is, and in denominator one more x is there, keep a bracket, and then plus 1. If you observe carefully, these 4 ticked ones I'm writing as it is, the a, the by, the plus, the 1, because f of something is there. F of something is a times the something by something plus 1. That a times something by the something plus 1. What is the something? Whatever the input is there, that is our something. So the input is ax by x plus 1 by ax by x plus 1 and equal to x. So this substitution, if you do properly, then the simplification is easy. You get a square x by x plus 1 by ax plus x plus 1 by x plus 1 equal to x. See, clearly in the question they are given that x not equal to minus 1. Automatically x plus 1 is not equal to 0. Only if you have that information, you can cancel a variable in numerator and denominator. Number 2 or 3, you don't need any information. We know that the 3 is clearly non-zero. We can cancel on both sides. But the variable to cancel, we must have this information not equal to 0. That's why you could cancel here.
So,
yeah.
So just one doubt. I mean,
yeah.
f of x equals to x. In place of x, we don't substitute anything. I mean, I don't know.
No, we don't need to substitute anything.
It's just
x remains as x. LHS
okay.
only f is there. That's why we are calculating f of x. Because the definition is given. Here also, we are not substituting anything in place of x. F of x definition as it is, we are substituting.
X, yeah. Understood.
Yeah. So this is a square x by a plus 1 x plus 1 equal to x. See, after this, we consider the case if x not equal to 0, or you can write this as one possibility and this as one possibility. X is equal to 0 is one possibility. In case x not equal to 0, you can cancel x on both sides. You will arrive with this. Now, x is equal to 0, it means anyway this will satisfy, but we are not worried about a particular case value of x. For all values of x, this should be true. So this condition is not valid, because we need to get a condition which is true for all values of x. That's why we are trying to simplify this expression. When you're simplifying this expression, again you get the two possibilities. What are they? A plus 1 equal to 0, or x is equal to a minus 1. We cancel that a plus 1 on both sides. X is equal to a minus 1. So x is equal to a minus 1, then it will be true. But we are not looking for a particular value of x, this to be true. We want for all values of x, it should be true. So this particular value of x is not allowed. So a plus 1 equal to 0. That means if a equal to minus 1, so if a equal to minus 1, this condition f of x equal to x is not depending on any x value. So if a equal to minus 1 happens, you can have x value anything, but still this condition is true. So that's the answer.